Hello everyone and welcome home. It's your friendly neighborhood hometown killer, and today we're gonna have a chit chat about the ones who live. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say again, thank you guys so much for the 69 subs. We're almost at 100, and I am so excited to continue to grow with you and welcome more people to drive the edge of my knife as we gut our way through all of our favorite topics. But for now, grab a new shirt, your Roomba, and a TVMA rating, because we're about to jump headfirst out of our helicopter into The Ones Who Live Episode 4, What We. As always, this review is going to be gushing with spoilers, so please go watch the show and then come back and listen to me talk about it. So, this episode begins exactly where the last one left off. Something I love about this series, by the way, with Rick and Michonne falling out of the helicopter. They work their way into an abandoned building that still has power as Michonne tells Rick,
"We needed a timeout."
They then proceed to argue as Rick thinks they should go back to the CRM. Michonne then changes clothes as Ricky begins thinking with his little dickie. But that doesn't last long when Michonne starts talking about a book and how a particular one inspired her as a youth and claims Judith will love it. She then confronts Rick about how he's become a creative writer with his goodbye note he left in the red canoe for her. She then tells him to write another one for their children so she can tell them why he chose not to come home to them. In which Rick says,
"Children. You said children."
And then she spills the fucking beans on RJ.
His name is Rick. We call him RJ.
And Rick then again says they need to go back, and Michonne flips out, and rightfully so. But right after that, they see the helicopter that they were in had crashed into the other side of the building. Michonne gets excited and says they can go home, but Rick says she should. He has to stay for her to get home safe. She calls him out on his bullshit and then says fuck it. She grabs the book for Judith, grabs a knife and a stick, and leaves. She pauses outside the door, and Rick hesitates to leave, and so Michonne keeps going. Rick finally gathers the guts and then runs after her as the camera lingers to show
Hostile stealth chopper inbound.
Guess Jada's got a 7-kill streak.
Gentlemen, that was textbook.
The gunship then blows the absolute fuck out of the crashed CRM heli, as they don't like to leave evidence behind. The building buckles a bit as walkers now get in where Michonne was about to get out. Rick saves her just in time and they start running away. They become trapped in a hallway and end up in an old workout room. It's here they discover that it used to be a research facility and everyone starved to death. Rick and Michonne then once again get into an argument about him being in the CRM and what it's made him, and Rick says he's always been willing to risk his life for those he loves. She again calls bullshit, but they need to escape before they can reach a resolve. They leave the room and kill walkers together, but also just not together. The chemistry is off and you can tell.
I had this. Really?
Sorry.
They run up the stairs when the chandelier comes down on top of Michonne's leg, trapping her. She then fends off a few walkers as Rick takes apart the bolts holding the chandelier together. Then they are able to lift it off and they run back into the room where they were in before, and we are treated to some steamy scenes that'll make all of your little Michonne dreams come true. After that post-nut clarity, Rick finally asks about RJ, and Michonne tells him about how much like Rick he is. Even though we never saw that in the main show, you know, they kinda just sidelined his character for Judith's growth, but whatever. Rick then makes one last comment about how he can change the CRM, and Michonne has fucking had it. The ceiling starts to crumble, and she says they won't leave until they know where they are going, and she asks him, what did they do to him? And he tells her, they took Carl. When they first captured Rick, he would dream of Carl, but it faded and was replaced by dreams of Michonne that eventually became dreams of his childhood home burning to the ground. He learned how to be dead and still live for years, and Michonne just came back and brought him back to life, and he's so afraid of losing her. But then she pulls out an inked up iPhone 4 with a picture of Carl, and we see a small montage of Carl as the images flood Rick's mind and he cries. He then agrees to come home. They gear up and take off, killing more zombies together, wholeheartedly together. The chemistry is back as they hit the elevator and make out like high schoolers on the way down, and then they steal a hybrid car that also happens to be a stick shift. RIP to Rick's left hand. He and Michonne switch seats and take off for Alexandria. A happy ending indeed. But alas, we still have 2 more episodes left, and that can only spell disaster. But I digress. This episode was absolutely beautiful. The writing by Danai was written so well and in-depth, and the acting was so on point that if these two don't win any awards, I may have to stuff the ballot box myself. And I don't think they'll like what I put in there. I'm really glad that they finally mentioned RJ and a little more about Judith. And speaking of, I really wonder how they're gonna take it when they find out that she got fucking hit markered by Pamela Milton.
No. Wake up, Judith.
Wake up! Welcome to the Gulag. If you survive, you earn your freedom.
Also, I really love the intensity of the emotions and how well the actors portrayed anxiety, denial, and acceptance. Watching them break down and scream at each other and then catching each other in their web of love and just finding new ground has reminded me of personal situations I've experienced myself, and it was very cathartic. I am glad that we got to see the whole breakdown of these characters for the first time since, probably the day will come when you won't be. I've seen a lot of people calling this episode a filler, and if you're one of those people, you're just missing the fucking point. This episode was about breaking Rick out of his own programming. He spent so long pretending to be dead, just accepting Okafor's mission as his own, and he became lost. And it took the love of his life to come back, because we get to come back. We all can change. We're not too far gone. Also, I'd just like to say that we only have 2 episodes left, so for the love of God, if you haven't, go subscribe to AMC Plus or just bum it off of a friend. This show is so goddamn good. But I think that's it for today. I don't want to overanalyze or dig too deep because this episode deserves to be watched and experienced on its own. Anyway, I hope you liked today's video, and if you did, please slash that like button. Don't forget to leave a sub and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future killer reviews. As always, I'm your friendly neighborhood hometown killer, and unlike Carl, I'll be seeing you in your dreams tonight.